where there
Huh?
are few resources. In a practical sense, any rainbow done suitable for practical roles by the local ice harvesters are
Yeah.
very likely used for meat and pelts. Perhaps Sven's mother fell into the
I'm also
latter
making a
category.
YouTube video, and you
Some
said you wouldn't
suggest
talk
that
in them,
it is
so
Griffin himself
get
who
one
forged a
A-nade.
natural bond with the newly orphaned baby reindeer, which explains why they stick together.
And
But
you
some
said
have
my
gone
name in
farther.
that video, so
Proponents
you
of
better
the
cut
darkest
that.
theory suggest that Sven can still smell
Yes,
his
they
mother in Kristoff's
changed.
clothing, which is why he follows him around. Sven might not even realize his best friend is wearing his mother's skin, guided instead by an instinctive attraction to the comforting smell. Number 8. Hook, the Mermaid Killer. This theory seemingly bridges the gap between Peter Pan and another beloved Disney movie, The Little Mermaid. It's shown in Peter Pan that mermaids are present in Neverland, and they have an intense fear of pirates. In The Little Mermaid, it's revealed that Ariel's mother is dead, and The Little Mermaid Ariel's Beginnings reveals that Ariel's mom was actually killed by pirates. There is a mermaid in Neverland who looks similar to Ariel, sharing her red hair and shell bikini. With the mermaid's fear of pirates in Peter Pan and the murder of Ariel's mother, it's conceivable that Captain Hook and his crew were responsible. The mermaid in Peter Pan who
Oh, yeah, let's do
resembled Ariel
this.
and Ariel's mother herself, later murdered off screen by Hook. This might explain why Ned wants Ariel to stay away from humans so badly. He knows how dangerous they can be. Number 7. Disney Apocalypse. At first glance, the 1992 classic Aladdin appears to take place in an unspecified Middle Eastern province of the past, based on clothing and culture. But this upcoming theory suggests a more futuristic angle. Either someone slipped up in Disney's movie logic checking department, or Disney were telling a tale of a distant future. Why? It's all revealed in the genie's lines. For starters, Genie claims that an outfit looks too 3rd century,
That first and best combo is much too 3rd century.
and later says
10,000 years will give you such a prick in the neck.
if we assume that the genie, at the earliest, was placed into the lamp for 10,000 years sometime in the 3rd century CE, a period he has clearly explained, these references will date the movie within the year
Oh,
10,300
come on.
CE at the earliest. The numerous times Genie impersonates 20th century celebrities like Jack Nicholson may push this date back even further.
Yeah,
The clothing and culture of the film seem to suggest a past setting. Let's not forget that fashion is cyclical. I hate to say it, but flares may come back. If the movie is in fact set in the future, this could also mean that the magic carpet isn't a magic at all, but one of civilization's prime pieces of technology. After all, according to Arthur C. Clarke, any piece of sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Some fans have even turned to the video game, which shows off 21st century road signs and what could possibly be leftover atomic bombs, suggesting that Aladdin's world is a post-apocalyptic wasteland. That's not to mention the sentient talking parrot, who theorists suggest is clearly the result of genetic engineering. This theory is viable, because after all, who knows what the Earth of the future will look like? Number 6. Frozen was a diversion. Disney's Frozen may have been created as a distraction. Let me explain. A well-known, long-standing legend claims Walt
Source
Disney
is
was
super
cryogenically
slow.
frozen in order to be brought
I'm
back
sorry,
to life one day in the
but
future.
goodbye.
There are even urban legends that his body is frozen somewhere in Disney World. But the theory gets even crazier when you open up your internet browser and search Disney Frozen.
You're
Ever
mean.
since the film was released in 2013,
I go back to
the
Still
search
Horse
terms
now.
will no longer yield wild conspiracies about the supposedly deceased celebrity, instead bringing up images of princesses and snowmen.
Where did
Theorists
Settle go?
suggest that this was completely intentional, a design by the Disney estate to quash discussion of the cryogenic theory once and for all. Coincidence? Maybe. But the theory does begin to unravel when you realize that simply adding Walt before the search terms will bring up the old urban legend. Number 5. Up to Heaven. According to one theory, Carl, the lovable, grumpy protagonist in Up, died in his sleep after being told he had to leave his home. On top of this, the theory suggests that, like Clarence in the cinematic classic It's a Wonderful Life, Russell is actually an angel trying to earn his wings by taking Carl to the afterlife, metaphorically represented by a scout badge. After all, Carl is trying to get to Paradise Falls, which only adds fuel to the possibility of this theory being true. Up is already sad enough without this depressing theory. I, for one, will never forgive Disney for those opening 10 minutes. Is someone cutting onions? Number 4. Zootopia, USA. Zootopia certainly has some strong messages about diversity, inclusivity, and prejudice, but there might be an even deeper, darker meaning. In the movie, one of the allegorical races, the predators, are starting to turn violent. The fact that predators are already feared only makes matters worse, because initially it seems like they are turning savage out of their own nature. At the end of the film, we learn that the predators are actually being injected with something to make them behave like this, and the entire scheme has been orchestrated by the deputy mayor of Zootopia herself. One particularly outlandish interpretation, tying into a real-life conspiracy theory, suggests that the movie is meant to be an allegory for the crack cocaine epidemic in America. Theorists believe that this ties in with a wider theory that the U.S. government is responsible for the manufacture and distribution of cocaine to black communities. This allows the internal destruction of said communities, legitimizing bigoted stereotypes, and stoking the flames of fear in external communities. It sounds eerily similar to what the deputy mayor of Zootopia did to her people. She hated the predators and wanted others to hate them while also eliminating them. Could Zootopia contain a secret insight on deeply ingrained racism in America? It's a compelling theory. But then again, this is a Disney film, and the company's founder wasn't the most progressive of thinkers. Number 3. Toy Story's Darkest Hour. Fans have come up with all kinds of interpretations of the Toy Story movies, but the theory started by film critic Jordan Hoffman that Toy Story 3 is a metaphor for the Holocaust may be the darkest yet. For starters, the toys spend a chunk of the film expressing hopes to hide away from the realities of the changing world in the dusty attic. As Woody and pals view the attic as a means to escape being carted off against their will, some perceive this to be a reference to Anne Frank, who spent the final section of her young life hiding in an attic with her family to avoid certain death at the hands of the Nazis. Next, the toys are shipped off to Sunnyside Daycare, which supposedly serves as the movie's concentration camp. The parallels are certainly there, with a harsh dictatorship clearly at play. Violent coercion at the command of Lotso Huggins is commonplace. The toys even come close to destruction in an incinerator towards the end, a demise disturbingly similar to the violent deaths many Jewish people met during the Holocaust. While it seems like unusual subject matter for a kids' film, other classics like Star Wars drew direct inspiration from the Nazi regime, so perhaps it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. Number 2. Carnage. Why did the cars in Pixar's Cars have rear view mirrors, doors, and windows? Questions like this regarding the puzzling anatomy of the titular characters have fueled theories ever since the film was released in 2006. The design features on all of the vehicles strongly imply human accessibility, but humans supposedly don't exist in this universe, right? One theory claims that humans did once live on Earth, but the artificial intelligence inside the cars they drove evolved to a point of sentience and decided to erase and replace the human species. Pixar hasn't officially confirmed if this theory holds any truth or not, but the franchise's creative director, Jay Ward, has stamped his seal of approval on it. An alternate theory states that humans might actually still be around, permanently living inside the cars. The vehicle would function as an exoskeleton, and this diagram illustrating this idea is incredibly disturbing. At the core of the car rests the human, attached at every limb to control the car from inside. Their eyes are hooked up to the windshield in tubes, presumably for food and waste, to keep the human from ever having to exit. Either theory would explain why the world of cars is so similar to ours in terms of languages, cultures, and even costumes. Number 1. Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice in Wonderland doesn't hold back on its themes of madness, no matter what book or movie adaptation you choose to enjoy, and it has led to some pretty wild fan theories. Most people know of the theories relating Alice in Wonderland to psychoactive substances. After all, Lewis Carroll, author of the original book, was a known opium user. It's even rumored that he was stimulated when he wrote the book. But while the film and book both seem on the surface to suggest the story is all a dream, theories suggest that there are deeper psychological roots to the story and subsequent film. The movie centers around the concepts of illogicality and warped perspectives, leading some to assume that Alice, going beyond the realm of normal childhood imagination, is veering into a distinct psychosis from which she cannot wake. Falling down an unscalable rabbit hole, some have argued, is a metaphor for the descent into a type of madness that can never be fully escaped. After all, in the film, the mad world of Wonderland simply dissolves away from Alice at the end. She never actually climbs back out of the rabbit hole, and that's not to mention the characters of the White Rabbit, the Mad Hatter, and the Queen of Hearts, who many have theorized as representing generalized anxiety disorder, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder, respectively. When Alice regains consciousness at the end of the Disney film, some have suggested that her teacher's lack of surprise at Alice's nonsensical outburst implies that she is well aware of the girl's condition and accepts that there is little she can do to help. Some even suggest that the pointy spire-like tower seen in the final shot may be some type of religious asylum for the mentally ill, to which Alice is being returned. Shocking stuff. So, do any of these theories seem viable to you? Did any send a chill up your spine? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and as always, thanks for watching.
Daniel, remember that Minecraft live stream with Ninja? Diamond! He's like, babe, I found diamonds.
Yes,
Really? How
yeah.
many?
Oh, no,
6.
Not recording.
I'm recording. Been recording for 11 minutes.
Then why is the music, like, something in your headphones? Like, music.
Oh, it's recording the screen,
The Valencia orange peel for
not
a
recording the
taste
sound.
beyond the ordinary.
Well, technically it is. It's recording the sound around it.
Most farmers go about their days tending to their land and crops, giving little regard to what what's in carrots. Turns out the earth holds some extraordinary finds that take
I don't like
farmers
this into the
completely by
speakers
surprise,
with the
and
thingies,
sometimes
and they
could
can
make
really
them
harm your
incredibly wealthy,
copyright.
such as the case of farmer
And I don't
James
want that
Bristle
again.
from
I've gotten it like 3 times.
One day, just a few months earlier, James uncovered what looks like a something far more precious and ancient than he could have ever imagined. The discovery revealed something incredible about our ancestors, their primitive technology, and challenges what scientists previously thought they knew about our history.
Can I
Let's
hum it?
find out about it now.
Since I'm not saying it, can I hum it?
As
Since I'm not
James
saying it,
kept
can I
digging
hum it?
around this mysterious object in the
You
soil,
can still get
he
copyright
slowly
from that.
realized it wasn't a fence post at all. The object in the soil
Wait,
had
what?
an unusual shape, resembling something he'd never seen
I mean,
before.
yeah, you can hum
As
it, I
he dug
guess.
some more, it became clear what he found were bones, but unlike those from any other
Just
familiar
not that
animal,
loud, you know?
they were uncharacteristically
Yeah,
shaped
thanks.
and abnormally large. Knowing he'd unearthed something special, James contacted Daniel Fisher, director of the Museum of
Okay, there.
Paleontology at the University of Michigan. He just so happened to be in town, so he made a trip out to the site immediately and inspected the bones. Daniel surmised that what James had found was part of a pelvis from a prehistoric creature. Fearful the find might postpone his drainage project for months on end, James gave Daniel a single day to carry out his work of excavating the bones. The next day, work began, and hundreds of people visited the site, knowing it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to see prehistoric bones unearthed. At first, James and his family were overwhelmed, having to accommodate as many as 30 cars in the family driveway at one time. But they knew it was for a good cause. In the end, researchers dug 10 feet down and recovered about 275 bones. They were very impressed by the quality, abundance, and shape of them. They also found 3 large out-of-place boulders, crucial to their later discovery.
3 large boulders next to one another in one place, just offset from the skull. And we've seen those before.
Looking at those 2 huge tusks, they were quite sure what they had found was one of the most complete mammoths ever discovered. But they couldn't be certain. It could have also been a mastodon, which are similar, but are noted for having straighter tusks,
I don't
lower
need sleep.
shoulders,
I need
and flattened
bones.
heads.
Plus dog.
They're a different species of the Proboscidean family, but about 10 times as common. 300 mastodons and 30 mammoths have been discovered in Michigan, though James's is one of the most complete
No, I don't care
ones
about
they
that.
found,
Oh,
being
Carson,
about
Carson.
40% of the
Come here,
entire
man.
skeleton. Unsurprisingly, they're
that
highly
knockback.
valued. The most
Right?
intact woolly mammoth skeleton ever found was sold in 2017
Ah.
for a mammoth price
Oochie
of
hole.
about $645,000. That means the discovery
Daniel?
could have netted the Bristle family
I just got
a
iron
nice
from a
financial
zombie.
windfall since they own it. I said could because in the end they chose to donate it to the university for
That's
research
good,
and display purposes. James
Look how many
stated it
zombies
belongs
and
to
husks there are.
everybody, which
Why
is
do I
an
want
incredibly
Really?
selfless thing to say and do. I would have said it belongs
As I'm
to
telling
me.
my little cousin that they're...
$1,000. But in fact, a lot of
Yes!
people do end up
Let's go destroy some peeps now.
for millions of dollars, but more on that later. What do you think
Yeah.
you would have done if it
Going
was
in
you?
full gladiator
Let me know
mode.
in the comments down below. But
I
that's
don't
just the
even
start
know
of the
that
story.
if I'm singing
During
a
the
song.
excavations, the paleontologists were confused as to why they were unable to find the limbs and feet of the animal.
You've
They
got
found
armor.
its
I need to
skull,
kill you
jaw,
first. No, I need to
tusks,
kill you.
many
No,
of its
I need to...
vertebrae, as
Okay.
well as its ribs,
You dropped
pelvis,
this on it.
shoulder blade, and
Where's
kneecap.
Jarvis? Just
But
put-
they couldn't find its limbs or feet. To help uncover the mystery and put the mammoth into context, the team ensured to document the sediments, spores, and pollen from the site. The samples, taken at 2-inch intervals from a wall of the excavation pit,
No, not you.
helped
I don't
to
care about you.
confirm when the mammoth died.
Oh, yes.
Pollen helps identify the plant's
Hello.
and their precise pollination period,
Ouch.
helping to reconstruct the environment
Why
in
you
which
bully?
the mammoth lived.
Ah,
In the
leave me alone.
end, their research revealed
Yeah.
some incredible
Got him.
findings. It was indeed a mammoth, as suspected. It was found to be a large male Jeffersonian mammoth,
Ah.
a hybrid between a woolly mammoth and a Columbian mammoth.
Right.
It was about 35 years old, estimated to have lived between 11,000
First, I need to kill the spider.
and 15,000 years ago. Analysis of the sediment suggested it laid within a pond, butchered and purposefully put there by early
Yes!
humans. This is a revelation.
Ah,
since
leave me alone.
previously, the oldest evidence for humans in the state
No.
dated to about 13,000 years ago, when the Clovis people were thought to be in the area and hunting with spears. Not only that, the
Huh?
mammoth's skull was cut up in a way that only an intelligent butcher
Oh,
might.
it's a
Someone
go
had
to go
accessed the pulp of the
down.
animal's tusks by breaking into the back of its skull. The marks on the skull suggested tools were used
Ow.
to do this, as the bone all around it had been broken loose by a series of whacks. Perhaps the limbs of the animal had already been devoured, and the ancient humans brought the rest of the mammoth for storage in a pond with the intent to come back later to retrieve it later when they needed meat. But why would they dump the body into a pond? Surely it would rot.
Ah.
Well, not exactly. What you have to remember is that 15,000 years ago, the area would have been a vast expanse of tundra. This was a period 3,000 years before the end of the Ice Age, after all. The large rocks found beside the mammoth were thought to have anchored the carcass in a cold pond. Or, as Daniel suggests, the piles of sand and gravel found around the remains could suggest the mammoth's intestines were loaded to make sure it was firmly secured to the bottom of the pond. The pond ensured other animals would have a hard time scavenging the material, and the bacteria in the pond protects the remains from other harmful bacteria. Fisher was so confident in his hypothesis, he actually put his own health on the line by periodically eating horse meat that had been butchered and sunk into a shallow pond. Tasting it every 2 weeks, it kept in the cool water for 6 months. Proving that Pleistocene humans could use water bodies as woolly mammoth refrigerators. All of this builds on the
No, you can
mounting
put it into
body
my
of
hands,
research
Huh?
suggesting
You
it
can-
was
you can put it into
humans
my
who
hands,
played a
Rob.
role in the mammoth and mastodon extinctions, rather than changes in climatic conditions. When you think about it, it's incredible what we can learn from a load of dirt and bones.
Don't kill you, you
James,
skeletons.
who now aptly renamed his
No.
farm to Mammoth Acres, is
They
the
are
only farmer who's found a
going
massive
at
range of
it.
crops. Coming up are two more incredible stories of farmers who have found
Hey, you
lucky
stupid
discoveries
skeleton.
in their fields.
Come over
First
here.
up, a farmer who managed to cash in on their find, despite not doing any work. Maurice Williams, a cattle ranch owner, was approached by paleontologist Pete Larson, who offered him $5,000 to look around his property for a couple of years. And if they found anything, Williams would receive a 10% cut of the profit. Seeing this as essentially free money without having to do anything, Williams agreed. Around a year later, he and his crew got a flat tire, which is usually bad news.
Why
But in
are
this
they-
case, it was a stroke of luck. As the group went
You
into town to
stupid
repair the
skeleton.
truck, Sue Hendrickson, a crew member, decided to explore the nearby cliffs that the group had not checked. There, she found bones dripping out of the side of the cliff. It turned out to be the most complete T-Rex ever found, with around 90% of her original bones still intact. The skeleton
What?
contained amazing details that have been preserved, like broken ribs that had healed, and holes in her lower jaw, which Pete thinks were from the teeth of another T-Rex. After 3 weeks of digging, cleaning, and preparing, Pete and his team had uncovered an impeccable 13-foot tall, 40-foot long Tyrannosaurus Rex. Pete named it Sue after the woman who had discovered it, and planned on using it to start a museum where people could view the T-Rex and learn about the past. But that's where the good news ends. Unfortunately, Pete's house was raided by the FBI, who spirited the dinosaur away. The rancher claimed he allowed Pete to dig
Yeah,
up
and
the
kill a
bones,
lot of
but not
skeletons.
sell
Just
them,
saying.
which led to an intense custody
Hey,
battle
Rock.
to find out who really owned Sue. Despite all his work, Pete lost, and the rancher decided to put Sue up for auction to anyone who wanted it, from museums to casinos, and even private individuals who
Wait, what?
wanted it as an ornament in their living room. Eventually,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that on.
Sotheby's sold it for $8.3 million to the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago, Illinois, for everyone to see. Unsurprisingly, it led to increased enthusiasm for dinosaur bone prospecting in South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana, the only places T-Rex
Montana.
bones are found. In fact, only 50 T-Rex specimens exist, and 10 were found by Pete. T-Rex
Oh,
bones
let's
are
go
the most
murder these
valuable
little
dinosaur bones
buttholes.
that can be found, and have gone from scientific artifacts
Charge!
Although commercial diggers lose lots of valuable information by doing an improper job, on the balance, it's probably for the best.
Say it in
You
a
see,
sequel.
prior to the commercialization of dinosaur
Hmm?
bones, only one T-Rex had been found every 10 years. But now, we're finding about one every 6 months. Not only that, but these remains will crumble as they reach the surface. So excavating them this way
Burn my
might be the
eyes.
best, even though it may prevent us from learning about them in the future.
Okay.
Just imagine if someone
Need
finds
to-
one with a unicorn horn and sells it off to a billionaire who uses it as a coat hanger. Do you think it's right that these precious artifacts can be put up for sale? Or do you think they should be given straight to museums and universities for research? Again, tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. The last incredibly lucky farmer I have to mention is Jose Antonio Nieves, who owns a farm 40 kilometers south of Buenos Aires in Carlos Pecazzini. On Christmas Day of
I'm gonna make a
2015,
farm.
he found something much better than a present under the tree while strolling along his grounds.
Cat.
The
All that
bizarrely
stuff,
spherical
self-
object was
self
found
your
inside a
stuff,
riverbank,
yourself.
deeply entrenched
Yeah.
in mud. Do you think you can tell what it is by looking at it? Jose's
Dino
wife, Rena Coronel, said that at first her husband believed the black scaly shell was a dinosaur egg. Jose immediately began excavating the strange discovery, using his bare hands to reveal what was hidden. But when police first showed up, they were as stumped as Jose. They knew it was something out of the ordinary, so they brought in paleontologists. As it turns out, the fossil was in fact the shell of an ancient glyptodon, which are prehistoric relatives of armadillos. This was confirmed by paleontologist Alejandro Cremars of the Bernardino Rivadavia Natural Sciences Museum. The species dominated South and Central America up until a couple thousand years ago. While the shells were mainly used for protection, the tails were used in interspecies fighting, much like male-to-male competitions among deer using their antlers. They are thought to have coexisted with early humans for several thousands of years. It's also believed
Thanks
that
for breaking,
prior
Mr.
to
Shovel.
the rise of humans, who likely hunted
Real
them
nice,
for their
buddy.
shells, contributed to their extinction. If you want to snag yourself a Glyptodon shell, you can find them for sale online for around $30,000. Like the other farmers in this video, Jose really hit the jackpot. After learning all this, I think I need to go and buy some cheap
How are you not
hardware
burning?
somewhere to dig it all up and uncover its secrets. So what do you think you'd do if you ever found a rare prehistoric fossil? Would you
Get
donate
rich,
it
buddy.
or sell it to the highest bidder so you can spend more?
I need to destroy this spawner ASAP.
What?
Oh, I said I need to destroy that.
No, look. That says hot dog water. If they haven't noticed, we're watching TV.
Here it is.
Before Popeye became super strong from his regular intake of spinach, companies around the globe have been making outrageous claims about their food products. While laws prohibiting false advertising have had some effect, that doesn't stop some companies bending the rules where they can, with results varying from pseudoscientific facts to deceptive buzzwords. Here are 10 superfoods that claim to do extraordinary things, but don't always deliver.
I should have broken that.
Snap, crackle, and stop. Looking at the packet of Kellogg's Rice Krispies, you might be led to believe the claims that the breakfast cereal is perfectly healthy. Being constructed mainly of rice and sugar with a few fortifying vitamins, they really do seem like a healthy way to start the day. But the Federal Trade Commission's 2010 investigation of the product told a different story. After a lengthy investigation, Kellogg's was found to be misleading consumers with claims of developmental health benefits for children. This is partly to do with the main ingredient, rice. Rice may be easy to digest, but it lacks the fiber and more natural nutrition that can be found in legitimately healthy breakfast options like porridge. While the rice is indeed fortified with nutrients, the claims of Rice Krispies boosting immunity in children have been drawn into question time and time again due to a lack of any substantial evidence. Number 9. Healthy sweetness. Dark chocolate claims to be an epic superfood with countless health benefits like enhancing muscle growth, reducing stress, and improving sexual performance. But before you tuck in, remember that a 2-ounce bar of 70% cocoa dark chocolate
What the?
contains 50 milligrams of caffeine, almost as much as an 8-ounce cup of black coffee. While caffeine can be beneficial in measured amounts, too much can lead to insomnia,
I gotta put a door there or
anxiety, and
something.
migraines. Not to mention the problems that arise from caffeine addiction. But it doesn't end there. Dark chocolate
Ooh, you
contains
guys
oxalates,
What's that?
molecules that
chocolate?
inhibit your body's ability to
You and
absorb
Lisa?
calcium, which can cause
Who
kidney
likes
stones.
dark
While it's
chocolate?
true that dark is generally healthier than milk chocolate, bear
Haley,
in mind that
type
1
in
ounce of dark
comments.
chocolate is still made up of
If
35%
anyone watches
saturated
this.
fats. Number 8.
Because like
Against
7
the grain.
people watches
It's
this
a
video.
commonly held belief that multigrain is the
Welcome
healthy
to your
choice for red
viewers.
mothers and is chock full
Your
of
7
nutrients,
viewers.
fiber, and proteins. But despite all the healthy-looking seeds
Wait,
and
isn't it
grains,
like
it's
8 or
still
10
bread,
now?
which unfortunately
Like
is
12?
full of carbs and lacks nutritional
What do you
value.
mean?
Multigrain bread may even be a source of anti-nutrients. These are
Oh, wait, no, I
compounds
need
like
that.
phytic acid, which is commonly found in grains, and
Boop.
bind
Nope, I need
nutritious
this.
minerals together, preventing their absorption into the body. Catherine Zaratsky, a Mayo Clinic dietitian, warns against the trafficking.
I also need that. I don't need this.
Porridge.
Don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need this.
This is critical,
Banana.
as the real nutritional value of grains comes from the additional nutrients contained within the components of
When
whole
you gonna
grains.
stop recording?
Regardless of how many there are, the multiple grains are often processed
I don't
and
know.
deprived from most of their nutritional value. There's very little FDA enforcement regarding whole grain and multigrain distinction, so you never truly know what you're slathering Nutella while you try to convince yourself that it's still healthy because it has seeds in it. Number 7, no added sugar. Despite health claims, sugar-free foods usually come with a catch. Artificial sweeteners like sucralose are incredibly potent at around 600 times the sweetness of sugar.
No seeds in that.
Havoc with your body. Sucralose in particular
Okay, I actually need this iron real quick. Boop. Okay. I'm X-Farm now.
Then,
Yes.
do you have a cousin named Isabella?
I have a sister named Isabella.
You don't have a cousin?
Nope.
And today we've explored less than 5% of
What
them in
about
total.
that girl that gave you that?
Nope, never mind, I do.
Waiting to be discovered. But there are also many buried and forgotten treasures to find too. Sometimes
Like the Titanic, buddy.
full of nature. And when we do, it reminds us by taking things we've made and swallowing them whole.
No.
Holding them there for us to find hundreds, if not
Nobody wants
thousands
to
of
live
years
here.
later.
I'm
True,
still
the
going
sea
to
is a
live.
place
What
that
I 1.8 million views. Awesome. John Evans that no one else Olympia.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Listen to me. Are you in the market for a private island? Oh,
Yes.
Come on. We all need our own personal
Me?
getaway.
Yes.
Plus, these prices are unbeatable. Okay, fine. I make a lousy salesperson. But there really are whole islands out there that you can purchase for a fraction of the typical price. But the real kicker is that nobody wants to buy them. Take, for example, Piaçabuçu Islands, Brazil. Price $79,500.
No.
For just under $80,000, you can become the owner of not one, but 6 islands situated on Brazil's São Francisco River. These islands can boast picturesque views, exciting
Yes.
wildlife, and even colonial ruins. So, why hasn't anybody grabbed them up yet? Well, the reason might lie in the fact that you're technically just buying the right to use the islands for 99 years. Besides, the contract contains a vague note that you'll be subject to small annual taxes. Yeah, maybe pass on this sketchy deal. But I've got plenty more offers, like Little Rocky Island, Nova Scotia, Canada. Price $74,500. Surprisingly, this 8-acre island is still available. And if you
8
hurry,
acres?
you'll be able to buy
Not so
it.
bad.
For 75 grand, that is. But
Bah.
given its pretty sandy beaches, untouched nature, and pine trees, that price point is a steal.
Oh.
Although Little Rocky Island lies in the Atlantic Ocean, neighboring islands protect it from foul weather. There's no property on the island, but you can build anything you like there. As for what is still for sale,
Yes.
that's a real mystery. Perhaps the market is a little flooded, since Canada has so many private islands for sale. Tillamook Island, Oregon, USA.
Tillamook. That's a company.
$50,000. Also known as Terrible Tillet, this island's nickname
Whoa.
speaks for itself. Well, it's not technically an island in the traditional sense. It's basically a rock with a single lighthouse on it off the coast of Oregon. Initially, the island was sold for $500,000, but that wasn't the only time it was for sale. So far, nobody has been enthusiastic enough to buy the place. Why, you ask?
I made the wrong
when you
thing.
consider the tumultuous weather, waves that can get so high they sweep over the entire island, and
You
the
don't
history
mess
that's
this
not
up.
short of tragedy for those who brave the dangerous waters around it, then yeah, Tilly
Okay, there
doesn't
we go.
exactly sell like hotcakes. Chandler Island, Maine, USA. Price $39,999. So, if you have some extra cash, you can buy a 1-acre island with a view of
1
picturesque
acre?
Maine. There's a little cabin on the island, and you can theoretically build some other property there too if you want. The only problem is that, during high tide, half of the island gets submerged underwater. As a result, the tiny territory of the island shrinks even more. Bring a life vest. Fort Carroll,
Okay, wait, I need to go back to that one
USA.
thing.
Price
Get more seeds.
$31,500. You could be the owner of a historic private island on one condition. You have to restore the fort situated on it. But it'd cost you less than the average price of a college tuition. Fort Carroll is an artificial island constructed in 1848. What's left today is an abandoned hexagonal fort on the island that was once crucial for defending the city of Baltimore. Many local businesses have made attempts to renovate the fort and even turn it into a hotel, a casino, a conference center, and even a jail. However, nobody has succeeded so far. The problem with the island is that it's an important bird conservation site that's home to tons of herons and seagulls. That's why you can't construct or change anything on the island, since it might spook the birds. Secondly, the fortress itself is under the protection of the state's strict environmental laws. This makes redevelopment next to impossible. McGibbon Island, New Brunswick, Canada. Price $29,900 in Canadian. People typically associate private islands with some sort of tropical paradise, but Canada's McGibbon Island is nothing like that. Perhaps that explains the super low price tag of 30 grand for this small plot of land on the St. Johns River. But it's probably got more to do with the fact that McGibbon is completely undeveloped. One of the reasons for this inconvenience is that every spring, the territory gets totally submerged. So you can't really build a cozy house here because it'd float away with the floodwaters. But if you like camping trips, McGibbon Island might be a spectacular investment. Mutsuiker Island, Australia. Price? Free. See that little string there? Yeah, it's attached. Welcome to a tiny island off the coast of Tasmania, Australia. To be the only occupant of this island, you don't need to buy it or pay rent. The Tasmanian Parks and Wildlife Services offer people to live in this remote, beautiful location entirely free of charge. The duration of stay is a half a year, but that should be plenty of time to enjoy all the lush greenery, breathtaking ocean views, and your own personal vegetable garden. As always, there's a catch. First of all, this offer is open only for couples, and both partners should be equally eager to go to the island. Besides, you'll take care of the property and its wildlife, as well as maintain the equipment and buildings. Your responsibilities will also include weather observations. And finally, there's no means of communication with the rest of the world. That's right, no TV, no
I can't
internet,
hit him.
no cell phone service.
You know what?
Harsh.
There.
Once you're
Ouch.
there, you can only leave the island for emergencies.
So I did.
And finally, you can only bring up to 716
Okay.
pounds of supplies with you when you arrive. Yeah, pretty strict stuff, huh? But hey,
Why
if
can't I
you and
hit
your
you?
spouse are looking to escape
There we
from
go.
the modern world for a few months,
My shield broke.
say,
My shield broke. Oh, I killed him. I
maybe
killed
you
him.
don't have tens of thousands of dollars to buy even the cheapest islands on the market that nobody else wants. Well, there are plenty of other islands that aren't really for sale, but you can live there, or at least visit some of them. Again, for one reason or another, nobody wants to. For example, there's Okunoshima Island. This place lies approximately 2 miles off the coast of Japan, but despite such a convenient location, nobody lives there.
My shield broke as I was fighting an Enderman.
1945, there was a chemical weapons plant on the island that produced poisonous gas. Yet even after the factory ceased to exist,
No.
no one wanted to settle on the island. In 1988, the Okunoshima Poison Gas Museum was opened, and it started to attract tourists. What do you get, a free sniff? But that wasn't the main reason why the island started gaining more and more visitors. It was because the place is overcome by rabbits. They begun to thrive and multiply on
Okay,
the
I
island
need
after the factory was closed. And these days, thousands of friendly bunnies will greet you if you decide to pay them a visit.
Ooh.
And if you do, you should find time to stop in at Hashima Island. Dubbed Battleship Island because it looks like an old,
Yeah, when it hits the
battleship.
40-minute mark.
Hashima is located about 9 miles away from Nagasaki.
Yeah.
From 1887
Which isn't
to
3 minutes, by the way.
1974, there was a profitable
The 40-minute
coal
mark?
mine on the
It's in 3
island.
minutes.
More than 5,000 miners together with their families lived
Okay.
on this 15-acre piece of land. All of them cooped up in
No,
high-rise
I'll stop it.
tenements. But when the coal ran out, people left the island, and the buildings were abandoned. Over time, they
Crap, shouldn't
slowly
build this here.
crumbled away to the point that it was dangerous to even step foot on the island. Nowadays, the site is open for tourists, but it's no wonder nobody is eager to live in this gloomy place. Lazaretto Nuovo. Located in Venice, Italy, this island is also open for tourists, but home to nobody. The reason lies in its rough past. In 1468, the island became a quarantine area for ships that approached the city. This move was meant to protect Venice from the plague. In the 18th century, the island was turned into a military base. And finally, in 1975, the place was left alone, derelict and forgotten. Only recently has the local community turned it into a museum site. Jacko Island. This place belongs to the Democratic Republic of
Need more
Timor-Leste.
iron.
The island looks
Badly.
like the picture of a true paradise. Lush green trees, crystal blue waters, and white sand. Surprisingly, this place is uninhabitable. But that's because the island is sacred to locals, so no one is allowed to live there permanently. But they don't mind one-day tourist trips or even camping, so you can visit it. So, which island would you like to go to? Let everybody know down in the comments. For me, it's got to be Rabbit Island. The place
I like
looks
Rabbit
really
Island.
nice at
Rabbit Island's
Easter
cute.
time. Also, remember
That's
to give
cute.
this video a big thumbs up. Share it with your friends
you hit
and
it right.
hit the subscribe button to
9-year-old
stay
can't
on the
swim.
bright side.
Daniel, I'm 10 and I can barely swim.
I can't even swim. What?
Oh my god, it's self-destruct. Those videos are really annoying.
same. Yeah, never mind. I probably am adopted. Woo! Yeah. Today we're taking a look at parents telling their kids they're adopted. Dang, that's one of the most messed up titles. But hopefully you guys.
That is actually kind of messed
I mean, it's kind
up.
of the same set, but I reorganized some things and rearranged. Hopefully you guys like it. If you do, please just get that out of here on the like button. And comment down below your favorite animal. Mine's a Jigglypuff. Wait, where's Jigglypuff? Jigglypuff. It's a Pokemon animal, tomato.
Tomato tomato.
If I had a child or
Mine's
if I
a
adopted
Jigglypuff.
a child, I would just be worried that the
Tomato
on
tomato.
their phone that they shouldn't be doing. I would want to know what's going on. I don't want there to be no secrets. But hey, speaking of secrets, before we jump in, this video is sponsored by mSpy. mSpy is a top parental control app that allows parents to monitor text messages, calls, current GPS locations, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and much more. Whenever my future son watches this video, he'll know that I know what he's up to on his phone. mSpy has 24/7 multilingual support and a team that'll help you with the installation process. You can check out a demo of the service and find out more about mSpy at mspy.com. So please click that first link in the description below and check it out. Woo! But now, let's go ahead and jump into the video and check out these parents that tell their kids they're adopted. Here we go. Liam, OMG, I just found out something really bad. Sad face. What's happened? You're supposed to put what happened, not what's happened. I just found out I'm adopted. Sad face. You didn't know? What? Dude, seriously? Your mom's black, your dad's white, and you're Asian? Yeah, that probably should have been your first clue. You have no Asian in your family and you don't know that you're adopted? Come on, bro. Just gotta look at the signs. Look at the signs. You're Asian, your mom's black, and your dad's white, boy. Get that out of here. And hashtag get that out
This
of
game's
here.
just
There's
trash.
nothing wrong with having a multiracial family, but come on, you really didn't know that you were adopted? Dang. Every time my parents talk to me, they tell me I'm adopted. Jeez. And my parents are black, so how am I supposed to know? But hey, it could have been worse. You got the best mixes in your family. Black so you got rhythm, white so you could get out of a speeding ticket, and Asian for, yeah, I don't know, Asian, so you could do your homework. No, I'm just kidding. That's horrible. So yeah,
It's horrible.
if your parents are a race that you are clearly not, then you might be adopted. But it's all good. Jake, do we have any more adopted in the cabinet? What's adopted? You're adopted. Very funny, Dad. I'm not your dad. Wow. What was the point? Jeez, how bored is your adopted dad to send you this text message? Your dad's supposed to be at work doing a presentation so he can bring home the bacon. Instead, he's more concerned joking with you about being adopted. Dang. I don't even know what I'd do if I found out I was actually adopted. I would just have to hunt down my real parents and be like, why didn't you want me? But then again, looking at my videos, yeah, I know why they didn't want me. Dang. I was probably a handful when I was a child. There was one time I got really upset when I was like 3 years old, so I tipped over a lamp and I broke it. Yeah, that wasn't good. My parents were not happy about that. But yeah, you guys think that I have dad jokes? That's a dad joke, dang. Change no to yes on my dad's phone. Emoji. So he writes, can I have a party at our house today, Dad? And then he puts, you're adopted. Oh! Why is this dad so savage? Jeez, at 9:41 a.m. There should be a rule. You can't be that savage until at least noon. Dang, that's messed up. Good. Dang. So much for that party, bro. I'm sure he doesn't.
Sorry, that was someone else. Wait, what?
Yeah, it's at the 40. It's at the 40 minute mark. I'm in a cave. Here, I found a really good cave. Here, what? Hold on, wait. I'm gonna show you the way to get out.
Told me I'm adopted. LOL, I can't believe they kept that from you. That's hilarious. Thank God I'm not. Jake, we're twins. So, think about it. Crap. Yeah, so you're twins. If one of y'all is adopted, then both of y'all is
Found a wandering trader.
2 equals adopted.
Found a wandering stupid little trader.
They're both adopted. Dang, poor Alex.
Oh, are you by the?
Are you stupid, Llama?
You're a twin, dummy. It's all good, y'all. You know,
Oh, they're fighting each other.
but at least I'm not black. Oh, crap. Yeah, I am adopted and black. So, me, we can't be related.
Ben,
Not yours.
I have to stop recording.
Mom, kidnap is such a strong word. I
Boop.
prefer